So we just installed Eclipse. It's time for us to make our first program, alright? So first thing we're going to do is open up Eclipse. We have that different launch window since we're using the dark theme. So all Java projects require a different project folder. So we go up to File, New, Java Project, and we will have to name it. So in this case, since we're just doing a test project, I'm going to name it test. And most of the time, you can just leave these settings, their defaults. Hit next. That's fine. We just click finish. And then it's asking me to use a lowercase letter. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to use a lowercase letter then. Actually, just click don't create. Alright, so our project will actually pop up in our wherever we saved it. So under my Eclipse folder, you'll see the test project right there. Okay. After we create the project, we have to create a program. So in Java, the default programs are called classes. So we have to go to File, New, Class, and we're going to create a new class. In this case, we'll just call it setting up Eclipse. Now in this case, we cannot use spaces in the name of our classes because these classes have to be written in code, and including a space will make the program think that it's not a single object but two objects. So you have to have it as one thing without any spaces. When you're creating a class and you want to execute code on it instead of only storing data on the class, you'll also want to click on this public static void main string args. What that will do is it'll make a main method which is automatically executed when you run your program. So we're just going to click that check mark, okay? And then that's all we need to do, just click finish. Sometimes it won't automatically pop up a new window because you don't have any code open. So you can just click the open existing file button, go to your desktop. I mean, if you save your folder on your desktop, you go to your desktop, but in this case we saved it in our documents under Eclipse. So underneath your test project folder, you'll see a folder called SRC. SRC stands for source code, so we're going to double click SRC and opens up setting up eclipse.java, and that is our class. When we click open, you'll see the compiler pop up, and I'm just going to full screen it now. But you'll also see that our main method is here, public static main string args, and then underneath it it will have a comment, and that comment just says add code here. So to make sure that this compiler is working, all we have to do is write one line of code that prints out a statement. In this case, that line of code will be system with a capital S dot out dot print ln open parentheses quotation marks. So when you open up the parentheses, you're going to, that's just telling you to do whatever's inside. It calls a function with whatever's inside the parentheses. In this case, the print calls a function that prints objects to the console. Now the quotation marks are there to represent a string. If you have two lined quotation marks, it means that it is a string. If you have one line, it's a character, and characters are single letters, but 2 lines is multiple letter strings. So in most cases, people will just write hello world as their test string, I guess. And at the end of every line of Java code that executes something, excluding loops and functions, you will have to include a semicolon, because that tells the compiler to stop reading that line. So, after we write our first line of code, we're going to click this Run button up at the top, and it's going to ask us if we want to save before launching. You always want to save before launching your code, because that'll save it to a file, and if your computer crashes because you run a code, you'll have it saved to a file. So, at the bottom, we see our output in the console, and it says hello world. Now, if you want to make your console bigger, you can move your cursor right where that is, right where the console starts, and drag it up. You can also drag each one of these boxes around and put them on different sides, like I just put the Package Explorer on the task list, and you get even more room to write your code and see it. So that's the end of setting up your first program.